West Virginia had a chance to play for the national championship. Instead, lost in the backyard brawl to Pittsburgh. Then the Mountaineers lost their head coach and now face an Oklahoma team playing the best football of the season for the Sooners. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horwitz, glad to be with you on CBSSports.com, breaking down the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, a game that certainly will have the overwhelming theme of coach versus coach that's not there. And for more, we bring in Spencer Tillman from Houston, as we have all season long. And Spence, that obviously is the overriding theme to this game. Rich Rodriguez will not be there for West Virginia. In your opinion, what kind of effect does that have on his players on the field?
Well, I think it's a huge effect. I mean, you would assume that, and kind of using this as a benchmark, what happened with the Atlanta Falcons, you saw the kind of impact it had them on the professional level. These guys are not as old, therefore not as mature, one would suspect. And it's going to have an impact. And that's just a general example. But I can tell you from personal experience, those younger kids are impacted by that more. You go to an institution oftentimes because of the head coach or the position coach that recruited you. So no question about it. This is huge, and it makes a big difference. It's not like this guy had a reputation of being a vagabond. This is his school. He's an alumnus. So when he departs, it takes a little bit out of you.
And last year, too, Spitz, I mean, he said he wasn't going anywhere. He decided not to go to Alabama because he said he wanted to stay at West Virginia. These kids, they've come out and talked about how disappointed they are, how hurt they are. But is it possible that becomes motivation to beat a team like Oklahoma, say, we don't need Rich Rodriguez?
It can. Jason, you're getting into some interesting stuff, and I'm glad you did, because one of the things we got to realize is these are Gen Yers. They're totally different. They're exposed to more information. They know more. They appear more confident, but the truth of the matter is they're more vulnerable than they ever have been before. And because of this, they're distrusting. They're distrusting, and you can see the reason why. When you have the type of movement by coaches moving from one institution, having said they will stay, you see what happened to Bobby Petrino. He lied and went to a different place, again, in a relatively short window. We've seen this happen. So these kids have been exposed to a generation of unethical behavior, in my opinion. And as a result of that, they're distrusting. And it takes a lot to win that back. It has a tremendous impact on them, no question.
All right, let's pull all of this onto the field here, because obviously until the game is played, we won't know the effect that it has. So all we can look at is what they did during the season. And West Virginia is coming into this game, Spence, nicked up. Pat White was hurt in the loss to Pittsburgh. And they're also coming up banged up emotionally, not just from Rich Rodriguez, but the fact that they had a chance to play for the national title and lost it. So when you look at this West Virginia offense, which was held down by Pittsburgh, put it against Oklahoma's defense, which shut down Missouri's offense.
Yeah, I think the quarterback situation, the health there will matter a great deal. And again, it gets back to your offensive formation. Now, this is understanding that your head coach is not going to be there. He was the brain trust. He was the mind. He's the father of the spread concept, is Rich Rodriguez. I still believe when you have athletic talent that can spread teams out, you're going to have a shot. And Pat White is really the key to all of that. And again, Slayton obviously helps out and gives them that balance that they need to be 100% effective in this scheme. But you got to have a natural play caller, which Rich Rodriguez was and is, to make this thing really work. He's that catalytic coach that's going to make the difference. He's not there. So the question is, everybody wants answered, how effective will they be without that creativity from a play caller?
But Spencer, speed equals speed. Don't you think Oklahoma's defense has the speed to equal out Pat White?
Yeah, I think they do, but they've got some shifting around they've done because of an injury at one of their corner positions, so that's going to be a problem for Bob Stoops. But again, I give Bob Stoops high marks. I think he's the best in the country right now with time to prepare. You saw what happened back in 2000 when they went in heavy underdogs, 13 points, if memory serves me correctly, to Florida State at the time, and they wore them out. And it was really because of the defensive scheming that Bob Stoops put together. So I think that's going to be a problem for this Virginia team, this West Virginia team.
Well, and the other part of this is that Bob Stoops' team is going back to the same site where last year they lost in a very close game, in a game they had till the end against Boise State. Certainly was one of the best bowl games of all time. This one could get out of hand early, but for Oklahoma's offense, Spence, if Sam Bradford weren't a redshirt freshman, if he were a junior and he had hype coming into the season, we may be talking that this was a Heisman-type year. Just put into perspective how good Sam Bradford really is.
Yeah, you really have to look at it. And again, Sam's a scratch golfer. He's got a mindset when he comes to the football field of a patient, balanced guy. He really dissects defense exceptionally well, and that really gives him that something extra that other quarterbacks, particularly freshman quarterbacks, you would never expect for them to have. We would be discussing the fact that he's a Heisman Trophy candidate in that situation. But you know what? This has been an unprecedented year. We had Michael Crabtree win the Blitnikoff Award. He's a freshman. First time that's ever happened. Tim Tebow, a sophomore, wins the Heisman Trophy. First time in the history game that's ever happened. I would have liked to have seen Bradford get more consideration for the Heisman Trophy. Irrespective of the fact that he's a freshman, he was leading the nation for much of the year in pass efficiency, and he's a heck of a quarterback for sure. We saw what happened when he left the game with the concussion against Tech. Oklahoma's a totally different ball club.
Of course, and if that doesn't happen and they beat Tech, they are in the national championship game facing Ohio State and not LSU. So, of course, the Tigers and Les Miles have to thank Texas Tech for that as well. Spence, it's a game with a lot of themes on West Virginia's side that are off the football field. For Oklahoma right now, it's all about football. Is this a blowout in the making?
Well, I don't know if it's a blowout, but I can tell you this. When you combine motive with the distraction factor for West Virginia, motive for Oklahoma to right the wrong of last year, I think that gives Oklahoma a decided advantage. I think that Oklahoma will come in this game prepared to play. West Virginia a little bit limping, not just physically, but emotionally as well, and that's going to be too much for them to overcome, Jason.
I agree, and I do think this is going to be a blowout. I think Oklahoma runs over West Virginia, passes over West Virginia, and the speed on defense is good enough to slow down the Mountaineers as well. Spence, thank you very much for everything all season long. It has been fun, and we'll do it again next year and see if it's as much fun next year with maybe get another unprecedented season.
You bet. All right, Jason, you're the best. We'll see you.
You too, sir. Folks, for more on the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl or any of the other bowl games, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com, including to see who the experts pick in the bowl pick'em, and of course you can challenge them as well. For Spencer Tillman, I'm Jason Horwitz. It's been a fantastic season. Enjoy bowl season. Take care.